Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now, in today's video, we are going to be looking at some tier 9 tanks that are meh, but their tier 10 tanks are fantastic. So I don't know what I'm literally making the video and I don't even know what to call the title yet, but of course by the time the video is released, I will of course have a title. So basically there are loads of tier 9s, there's loads of tier 10s, and there are pretty much like a load of good tier 10s. However, some of them tier 10s, their counterpart or the lower tier down are not good, or they're not as good as they should be compared to their tier 10 tank. So we're going to look at 3 tanks. All of them are mediums, and all 3 of these mediums in tier 9 are meh. So the tier 9s are meh, the tier 10s are absolutely fantastic. So the first up is this tank right here, the E50. Now, I've already spoken about it many times. The E50M is one of the best medium tanks in the whole entire game. Not one of, it is the best medium tank in the game. Like, period, it's the best. However, the tier 9 version, which is the E50, is just nowhere near as good as the E50M is. It should be, I'm not saying it should be as strong as the E50M, but it should be on par with them, you know, considering it's the same kind of tank, very similar, looks the same, it should play the same, and it should be almost the same as the E50M. So it should be one of the best tier 9 mediums in the game. However, it is not the case, and the E50M, I have to say, does actually suck. I hate the E50. The E50. I hate the E50. I do not like the E50 at all. It's nowhere near as strong, even when you come up against tier 8s. So the E50 is one of those tanks that has a super strong tier 10, but the tier 9 is just not great at all. Moving on to tank number 2. So tank number 2 is probably the worst of the bunch, is the Leopard PTA. Now, when you play the Leopard PTA, people do get frustrated with it. It is just, in my opinion, weak. Now, of course, when you come up against tier 8 tanks, the tank will feel a lot better. Of course, it will feel better coming up against tier 8s than it does tier 10s. But if you compare the Leopard PTA to the Leopard 1, there is just so much difference, and there shouldn't be that much difference between them. Considering it is only like 1 tier difference, it shouldn't be a massive amount of difference between the Leopard PTA and the Leopard 1. But there is a massive amount of difference. Now, this battle, we are actually up against tier 10s, but luckily for me, the enemy wasn't great. My team are all sort of around the other side, and this E4 has decided he wanted to push further on. So that allowed me to get behind this E4 and just farm him. Just before the Death Star gets to him, can I at least get another shot into him before he rinses him? And yeah, we managed to do almost 400 damage with our HE. So 1400 damage. Let's just reverse and clear him. At least that is 1 tank down. But honestly, those that have been around my channel for a while knows that the Leopard 1 is one of my favorite tanks in the game. It's not my favorite now because of course I'm not as a good player as I used to be. I'm not good at all, considering what I used to be like. And the Leopard 1 requires some thinking, and it requires some skill. So yeah, it's not my favorite tank in the game no more. The XM is XM66F, because it's just easier to play. There's a lot of good things about the tank, and you know, if I was still a very good player that I used to be, play the game a lot more than I do now, then I probably still would be the Leopard 1 my favorite tank in the game. But because I'm not as good, I don't play as good in the Leopard 1. So but still, it's a great tank, it's a fantastic tank. But when you play the Leopard PTA, honestly, you're like, really, like, it's if the tier 10 is going to be like this, then I don't really want the tier 10. And that's why Wargaming should look at tier 9s. I know they're looking at tier 10s in the current update coming where they're rebalancing a lot of tier 10s, but they also need to rebalance a lot of tier 9s as well, like make them better. There are some tier 9s that are actually really, really good, but then there's a lot of tier 9s, like not just these three in particular. I'm talking about there's there's loads of tier 9s out there that are just not great tanks compared to their tier 10 version. And these three tanks are just three that I've just randomly picked because I don't enjoy playing them, but I love playing the tier 10 version. So the Leopard PTA is one of those that I do think needs to be better. Moving on to the final tank in this list. Now this one we have the Type 61. Now those of you that have played the Type 61, it's an okay tank. It's not nothing special. It's okay at best. It's very, very weak. It's got a good gun, etc., but it's got no armor whatsoever. The turret armor on this thing is like non-existent. However, when you play the tier 10 version, the STB1, it has a fantastic turret. Like, it has such a good turret, it is unbelievable. And when you play the Type 61, you kind of forget that the STB leads on from it just because of how strong the STB actually is. The STB honestly is amazing, but the tier 9 version is just meh. There's nothing special about this tank at all. It's one of those tanks, yes, you can perform. It's a medium tank. You've got the DPM at the end of the day. You haven't got the armor, but you do have the DPM. So as long as you've got the shots available to take, then you can have a decent battle. Like here, I mean, I've got some free shots here against this Type 68. No problem. Type 268, sorry, no problem whatsoever getting damage into him. So that is 1300 damage at the moment, and of course I do know the Kranwagen is over that side of the map. Most likely he could actually be on his own. So I'm just looking at the moment. I was going to drop down, but then I'm thinking, okay, there's a couple of low hit point tanks up here, so maybe I should focus on them before rushing to this Kranwagen, and that's exactly what I am going to do, just to help my VK out, help him clear some of these guys. So yeah, I mean, some people may not agree with this video, and that is absolutely fine. Like, you might think the Type 61 is your favorite tank in the game, and you might disagree, and that's fine. You know, that everyone has an opinion. If you love the tank, then that's, again, there's nothing wrong with that. I love the Leopard 1. Other people may absolutely hate the Leopard 1. It's opinions at the end of the day, and if you love these tanks, then, you know, don't get ragey because I think they need improving. It's just my opinion. And all three of these tanks definitely could do with some kind of buffs, in my opinion, just to make it a lot more like their tier 10 versions. Like this tank, keep it the same, but maybe give it a little bit more turret armor. The E50, maybe again a bit more turret armor. I don't know, the Leopard PTA, more accuracy, a bit more armor, a bit more, not armor because the Leopard 1 is never about armor, but maybe a bit more accuracy, a bit more alpha, you know, just a little bit. It doesn't need a massive amount of changes, but I think all three of these deserve a bit more, considering how good their tier 10 versions are. Let me know what you think in the comments below, but for now, hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye bye.